Chapter 98. The bullet screen went blank for a few seconds. Jiang Huai and Lu Jin said in a deep voice, "My friends, why do you have such dangerous thoughts? I think Yao and Rose Fu are a good match. Talk on the barrage, and let's communicate through the screen." Coercion doesn't work when the audience has the wrong idea. It must be moved with emotion and reason, so that the audience can join them in the camp of against Yao falling in love. Jiyu Fusion kept a cautious silence. There is a slight delay in the recording of the live broadcast in the studio and on site, about 3 minutes. After the delay ended, an amazing scene appeared on the barrage in the live broadcast room. "I knock. What do you want to talk about? Come to me. It has nothing to do with Yo-Yo Jia-Jan. I, Long Aocean, will swear to protect my CP. That's right, it's me, with a dog's head holding a flower. I'm here in a suit and tie, and I'm going to have a formal talk with you. Absolutely not cowardly. I, Feng Aocean, will also swear to protect my CP." There was an inexplicable sense of heroic sacrifice in the audience's words. Jiyu Fu Chen and Lu Jin and Jian Kuoi. They just want to have a good chat with the audience, and exchange weird ideas. What are the audience friends doing? Want to break up my CP, step over my heart? Hee, it's time to oppose the parents of the family, friends, in order to defend the sweet love in our hearts. We must not succumb to their pressure now. Ron, you can't resist, let us come. Ron Huang fans, infinitely rampant, for love, crazy and crazy. The career fans of Ron Yu and Ron Chen Chen gave in obediently, and gave up the barrage and the opportunity to fight head-on with Ron Chen Chen to the Yuya Jizhan CP fans. Park big stage, you can come here for sugar. Jiyu Fusion. Jiyu Fusion did not expect that the base of audience friends with dangerous ideas was so large. He lowered his eyebrows. "Let's talk seriously about the origin of this idea. There is no reason, the interaction between the two of them is very poignant. Still straight male overlords, you will understand once you fall in love." Whoa. It must be Yo-Yo Woo 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 who can't help it. I know it's my wishful thinking, but I just want to immerse myself in the romance at the moment. Jiyu Fusion, Jian Huai, and Lu Jin sat down at the table and put the tablet on the table. The three of them leaned their elbows on the table and looked at it seriously with good-looking faces. After seeing the bullet screen that flashed past at first, Jiyu Fusion was taken aback for a moment, and after regaining his senses, he said in surprise, "They interacted. When? Where?" Haha, Ron Chen Chen was so anxious, he thought it was a real interaction. Same frame means interaction. When they appear in a shot, I can knock. Jiyu Fusion. The remarks on the barrage obviously opened the door to a new world for Jiyu Fusion. The words were written on the pretty face, "Is this all right?" While shocked, he breathed a sigh of relief. Not really interactive. However, audience friends want to say more than that. Ron Chen Chen searched Yao Jizhan on the internet. There is an upmaster who edited their interactive video. Guaranteed to kowtow to you too. Jiyu Fusion followed the website they mentioned to find the video. It's an edited video with only music. After a while, the faces of Ron Yu and Fu Jizhan appeared in the video, sometimes in the snow, and sometimes in a small car seat. In addition to adding beautiful background music and filters to make this video look romantic, Jiyu Fusion was angry when he saw two people in the same frame. Only when Yao smiles, some thoughts like "my sister is the cutest in the world and my sister smiles so sweetly can't help but raise the corners of her lips." As soon as I saw Fu Jizhan, there is no interaction, no matching, and even some scenes where the two people are not in the same frame. It was hard edited by you. Jiyu Fu Chen frowned, and seriously worked on dismantling the CP. The number of bullet screens has skyrocketed. Look in the snow, look. Mr. Fu looks at Ron Yu, so focused and sweet. Yao thought the person next to her was you, but in the end it turned out to be Mr. Fu. The whole world is standing next to her, but she doesn't know QWQ. For the next 15 minutes, the barrage and live broadcast room will start a question and answer mode. Because of the delay effect, Jiyu Fusion and the others often had to wait about 4 minutes to receive a reply after asking a question. Even so, this difficult process still did not affect their desire for CP to seek knowledge. Audience friends explained to Jiu Fusion, Li Jin, and Jian Huai what is so good about Yo-Yo Jia-jan in an all-round and detailed way. When Fu Jizhen was silent, he was probably thinking of Ron Yu. Fu Jizhen didn't make tomato fish for himself, but definitely for you, silently caring about his wife. Isn't it sweet enough? Jiu Fusion was serious. Explain as you explain, don't have personal emotions, and the title after your own cannot appear. In short, Mr. Rose Fu has done a lot for you, don't you feel it? When you set off yesterday, Mr. Fu was careful not to play music, not to disturb Yao's sleep. QAQ his concern is in the details. Ron Chen Chen, just say it's good or bad. There are many similar barrages. The barrage of excitement inevitably erupted with comments such as our audience friends analyzed well-founded, rigorous logic, and finally the audience repeatedly asked, as a passerby, I've been told that I want to fall into the pit vertically, are you still not moved? Li Jin, let go of your idol, she has quit the circle, let her fall in love. Tat. Very good, right. Jiu Fusion, Jian Huai, and Li Jin, the three overlords, thought nothing of it when they watched the video at first, but after the detailed explanation of the audience friends, they really found that the video looked kind of logical. Wrong. The boss trio realized something, and their expressions froze. What is this? Are you teaching us to knock CP? Jian Huai asked suspiciously. Ha 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 ha, have you finally found out? CP fans showed the video to the three Jiwei Amway CP, they listened very seriously and laughed. The three overlords don't know how to mess around, and even Dewey doesn't know what to say at a time like this, and was silently brought into the pit by CP fans. Does this count? The boss trio silently closed the live broadcast room. After being surrounded by the audience, the following three CP fans are them. They need to drug only up. First of all, the opponent Fu Jizhen had to be called over to criticize. Secondly, Ron Yu needs to be informed to make her realize the seriousness of the matter and keep a distance from Fu Jizhen. Furthermore, combining Fu Jizhen's answer last night, Jiu Fu Chen came up with some subtle and dangerous thoughts. If Fu Jizhen made tomato fish for Yao, how would he know that Yao likes tomato fish? Jiu Fusion's eyes darkened when he thought of what the netizens said. Ron Yu was secretly playing with her mobile phone at the same time. There was an interview in the morning, and everyone got up very early. While talking, Chi Jian, Wenjuki, and Luke Swan walked to the living room of the hotel one after another. Ron Yu followed behind Luke Swan. She slept very late last night, 5 alarm clocks in the morning plus Luke Swan's knock on the door woke her up. Her eyelids were drooping and her head was heavy. He casually put on a burgundy sweater, which made his skin as white as cream. Director Mew asked her to go to the interview room to prepare for the interview, and Ron Yu walked to the door of the hotel. Yo-yo. Jiu Fusion said suddenly. Ron Yu stopped and turned back blankly. What's the matter? Jiu Fu Chen was silent for a while. In the silence, Jiu Fusion's deep voice echoed in Ron Yu's ear. You have a good relationship with Fu Jizhen recently. Chapter 99. The hall of the hotel is quiet. When Jiu Fusion's words fell to the ground, the eyes of Jian Huai, Li Jin, Chi Jian, and Luke Swan were like spotlights on a dark stage, and they focused on Ron Yu in an instant. They are like the audience sitting under the stage in the dark, and they have a panoramic view of Ron Yu's every move. Ron Yu's ears were buzzing, and her heart was beating drums thumping. The fingertips hidden in the pocket became stiff little by little, and it seemed like thousands of threads appeared in Ron Yu's head, making her messy. In the air, silence is fermenting. The hidden waves slowly spread towards the surroundings. With a crash, the cool breeze buried the quiet waves, rushing over. The cold made Ron Yu tremble. She turned back. The staff didn't know when they opened the door, and they stood at the door of the hotel and greeted Ron Yu with a smile. Ron Yu regained consciousness. She wrapped her coat tightly, and said calmly, "It's pretty good. I have a good relationship with everyone." Ron Yu thought about confessing, but she would not confess in front of the audience in the live broadcast room on this occasion. She straightened her hair and asked softly, "Brother, what's the matter?" Jiu Fusion didn't believe that Ron Yu would fall in love with Fu Jizhen inexplicably, so he took this opportunity to ask Ron Yu to clarify in the live broadcast room. I just watched the barrage and found out that you and Fujishan are CP fans. Ji Fusion said, looking at Fujishan meaningfully. Full of warning, Fujishan remained silent. Ronyu was stunned for a moment, and hurriedly explained, there are a lot of CP fans on the internet. Brother, maybe you have all of them. Ji Fusion, everyone is a master at finding sweets secretly. Ronyu said seriously. Ji Fusion was about to take out his mobile phone to search what CPS he had, but he was still rational and remembered his purpose. If not, then you can just take this opportunity to clarify and express your thoughts about not liking anyone so far. Nothing is more useful than Ronyu clarifying in person. Yo-Yo Jia-Jan is crazy. Ron Chen, I am at odds with you. Do you dare to kill my CP? This is a knife, it's a knife QAQ. Ronyu clutched her pocket nervously, subconsciously looked at Fujishan, hesitating, this is not good. Ji Fusion, don't pay attention to him. Miss Jiu's reputation is the most important thing. Fujishan, Ronyu clenched her hands and turned her head quickly. If you explain at this juncture, some people will think that I have no choice but to say this. Jiu Fusion, there is still this possibility. Audiences who thought the knife was coming. Yayo is right. At first I thought the world was ending, but Yayo stuffed a lollipop in my mouth. Does this count? The two righteous masters forcefully give us candy tilde. If this isn't love. At first I thought they were fine until this moment. Fujishan is snickering, screaming, roaring. Ronyu was afraid that she would be too obvious, so she added cautiously, why don't we talk about it later? Jiu Fusion was very satisfied with this reason, and let Ronyu go to interview. Now is indeed not a good time to talk about these things, but Ronyu's attitude is here, and Jiu Fusion is at ease. When Ronyu's back disappeared at the door of the hotel, Jiu Fusion sent a message to Wei Wen, asking her to send all the videos watched by her sister's CP fans and the names of the fans' super chats in detail in the form of files. Jiu Fusion glanced at Fujishan warily. This love brain suddenly has someone he likes recently, and has a CP fan with Yayo, so he has to guard against it. In the afternoon, the program group arranged for them to go on a cruise. Because of what happened in the morning, Ronyu was very cautious, and she didn't speak to Fujishan the whole way to the boat, nor did she make positive eye contact. But he didn't dare to make it too obvious. It looks very sad. Fujishan pursed his lips, sat in the passenger seat, looked at the scenery outside the window, and said nothing. After half an hour, we arrived at the ancient town. There are beautiful scenery on the left and right sides of the ancient town, with various shops, and a long river called Chang'an flows in the middle. The river is gurgling, and occasionally there are small boats with awnings and scull boats wandering slowly on the water surface, causing layers of ripples. The scull boat can seat exactly 8 people. There are small red lanterns hanging on the bow, and a layer of blue floral cloth covering the body of the boat, which has a strong smell of fireworks. You knew that they were going to record here, and the two sides of the strait were crowded with many onlookers. Before Ronyu boarded the boat, tourists on both sides of the strait took photos and videos in surprise, calling out Emperor Ron, Fat Cat and Yo-Yo from time to time. Ronyu waved to them with a smile, bent into the boat, and sat down on the bow. Jiu Fusion followed closely behind. The scull boat swayed slowly, making ripples on the clear river. The scenery on both sides is beautiful and extremely human. The homestays built along the water, the endless stretches of various quaint small shops, and the 7-story pavilions in the distance are all dangling and slowly retreating. At 6 o'clock in the afternoon, there was a hint of darkness in the blue sky, and it was almost dark time. Like a layer of ink splashed in a piece of blue, it is quiet and romantic. The lanterns at the entrances of the shops on both sides showed a little bit of yellow, which brought a bit of haze to this quiet night. The boat of the photography team was behind Ronyu and the others. Luke Swan leaned against the fence beside the boat and sighed softly. Li Jin frowned. Why are you sighing? The beautiful scenery can relieve all depression. How to get to his sister? It's completely the opposite. Luke Swan curled her lips. It's a pity that my stinky brother didn't come. That always seems to be the case after a relationship. Seeing the beautiful scenery, I will regret that he can't watch it together. When two people are together, happiness seems to produce an effect that 1 + 1 is greater than 2. If there was a stinky brother, she wouldn't be sitting here stupidly by herself. Luke Swan thought with a sad face. Lee Jin didn't bother to care about this younger sister who was in love. Fu Jishan, who was sitting at the end, had the same idea as Luke Swan. He looked forward inadvertently. In an instant, Ron Yu, who was leaning against the fence, was looking backwards. She poked her head out of the boat slightly, with a smile brighter than starlight hanging on the corner of her mouth, and the hazy yellow lights on both sides fell into her smiling eyes. The side face is dyed with 2 parts of hazy light, soft and beautiful. Ron Yu was watching to see if the boat from the program group was following up. She met Fu Jishan's eyes in a daze, hid in the boat in a panic, and ate the snacks that Ji Fuxian handed over. Fu Jishan looked away casually, and his eyes fell on the couple who were embracing and taking pictures together on the opposite boat. The cruise ship has half an hour, and the boat is rickety and leisurely. Ron Yu leaned on the railing, feeling an indescribable sense of satisfaction in her heart. This kind of life seems to be what she has pursued for a long time. Family, friends, and lovers. The only downside is that lovers are a bit, can't see the light. Ron Yu secretly looked at the stern of the ship. She was several people away from him. Fu Jishan's expression was unclear, his jawline was tense, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Ron Yu scratched her head, staring in a daze at the chestnut her brother brought. The half-hour cruise ends. Ron Yu was so hungry, they went to find a place to eat first. It was already 11 o'clock in the evening when I went back, and the live broadcast room was closed. While Fu Jishan was back in the room to deal with business, Director Mu called everyone except him into the interview room. That's right, the day after tomorrow is Mr. Fu's birthday. Jian Huai nodded. So, Director Mu, we have prepared a small birthday party for Mr. Fu. This kind of drama often happens in variety shows. I just hope that you can cooperate and give Mr. Fu a happy life. At 12 o'clock tomorrow night, our birthday cake and supper are all ready. Just sit down and have a meal. Ji Fuxian, Li Jin, and Jian Huai nodded in agreement. In previous years, Fu Jishan spent his birthdays with them, and he just had a meal, chatted, and didn't do too many fancy things. Your only task is to cook him a bowl of longevity noodles. Director Mu smiled. Which one of you will come? Ron Yu wanted to raise her hand, but considering what her brother said in the morning, she squeezed her hands tightly in her pockets and bowed her head in silence. Li Jin, I'll come. Having decided on this matter, Director Mu has nothing to say. Everyone was tired, so they walked out of the interview room and went back to their respective rooms to rest. Before returning to the room, Ji Fuxian instructed, Yao, drink the milk later before going to sleep. Ron Yu nodded. It was already 12:30 when she washed up and fell on the bed. Fu Jishan sent a message half an hour ago. Big cutie, I'm a little busy tonight, so Princess Cat has a good rest. Big cutie, picture. Lovely, my girlfriend is so pretty. Ron Yu clicked on the picture. It is a photo posted by the program team on the official blog. She smiled and looked out from the rowboat. The background is blurred, only her smile when she looks at the camera. Ron Yu suddenly thought of that scene. The scene where she hurriedly hid in the boat after she looked at him. Ron Yu puffed her cheeks lightly, a trace of regret flowed through her heart. This love was discussed carefully, not even daring to look at each other. He still had to find this photo on the Weibo of the variety show's official blog and save it. Night is the best time to think wildly. Ron Yu fell on the bed, and this and that appeared in her mind for a while, all related to Fu Jishan and Ji Fuxian. Thinking about it, I fell asleep dimly. Fu Jishan was busy until 2 o'clock in the morning. Sitting by the bed, pick up the phone as usual before going to sleep. There is a message in WeChat to remind you. Fat cat, good night. Fat cat, picture. Fat cat, very handsome, very handsome. The picture is from the official blog of the Heiress. It's a photo of him standing at the door of the hotel looking at the flowers and fruits in the distance in a daze. Fu Jishan chuckled. After reading the chat records of the two from dating to the present, I couldn't sleep for a long time. In every reply that Chubby Cat praised him, his eyes would stay for a while unconsciously. He put his phone on the other side of the pillow and fell asleep lightly. He didn't sleep well all night, and at 6:30 the next morning, he was awakened by a very light vibration. 3 WeChat notifications. Fu Jishan rubbed his eyes lightly, and opened WeChat in a daze. When you see who the sender is, you wake up instantly. Fat cat, I had a dream. Ron put on a coat and half lied on the bed, typing on the keyboard word by word. You are so strange in the dream. I wake up inexplicably. Big cutie, what's wrong with me? Ron bit her lip. Her hair was draped over her shoulders indiscriminately, and a few strands blocked her eyes from time to time. She was in no mood to pay attention to it, and puffed out her mouth and tapped the keyboard seriously and slowly. Fat cat, in the dream, you kept walking forward and I was behind you, but you always ignored me and walked further and further away. Just like, mad at her. Ron's face was twisted into a ball, feeling inexplicably flustered. This panic has been hidden in her heart since her brother asked her that question and never disappeared. On the one hand, she was worried about cheating her brother, and he would be unhappy when he found out. On the other hand, she felt uncomfortable because of neglecting Fujison. After sending it, the chat page paused for a while. Ron turned off her mobile phone and leaned against the head of the bed in a sullen mood. With her mobile phone pressed against her head, she began to think wildly again. She could feel the panic and worry trembling in her heart. Afraid of handling it badly, my brother and Fujison were unhappy. Concealment is like a thorn, firmly rooted in her heart. A vibration of Zizi made her forehead numb. It was Fujison's reply. The content is a bit strange. What time is it in the dream? Fat cat, evening. Plump cat, it's so dark, so dark. I went to find you, but you ignored me. I was almost scared to death. There are small accusations and grievances in the tone, as well as unknown worries and fears. I don't know if I am afraid that he will ignore her, or that the night is too dark. Cute, that's right. Ron frowned, and when she was wondering, 2 small white boxes appeared in the chat box. Big cutie, at that point, I was thinking about you. Big cutie, I want to see you. The negative emotions brought about by the nightmare disappeared in an instant. My heart seems to be immersed in honey, so sweet that joy oozes from the corners of my mouth and eyes. Ron pursed her lips, held the phone tightly and smiled quietly. Dong dong, 2 very light knocks on the door sounded. At the same time, there was another message in the chat box. Now we have reached our destination. Ron's heart trembled, and after regaining her senses, she immediately got out of bed, kicked on her slippers and trotted over to open the door, opened a slow gap, put her hand on the door frame, and carefully looked out through the gap. Outside the door, Fujison has a tall figure, bows his head slightly, and puts his head against hers. The breath from the tip of his nose is warm, his breathing is very deep, and his voice is very soft. It's me, the person in your dream. Ron blushed slightly, moved her head away trembling slightly, and before she could speak, a warm woody tenderness came from the back of her hand. Before she could react, he held her hand and pulled her into his arms after opening the door. The scent of warm wood blends with a touch of daisy. Ron breathed a little faster, her hair was pressed against a spot of warmth, and his steady and powerful heartbeat was blowing into her ears, making her uncomfortable ear tips itchy and hot. The door clicked shut. Don't be afraid. Fujison's voice was very low, and his warm fingertips gently stroked the softness of her hair, and the numb feeling trembled in the blood like an electric current. She shook her head uncomfortably, struggled a little and said awkwardly, I'm not afraid. Fujison chuckled. Laughter came from her chest, against her ears, and into her heart. Ron angrily tapped his shoulder. Don't laugh. Fujison groped to hold her hand against her chest, tenaciously clasping fingers one by one, feeling the delicateness of her fingertips and the sweat in her palm before giving up. I'm afraid. Fujison said softly. The warm breath came against the hair, and the softness and warmth intertwined in the mind. Ron finally calmed down, and was defeated again. As soon as he looked up, he could see his slightly rolled Adam's apple. Further up, there is a perfect profile and slightly raised lip corners. Ron moved her little head and rubbed against his arms. Her whole body smelled warm and charming. Her current favorite scent. The heart gradually settled down. Ron leaned obediently in his arms, and said sullenly for a while, I'm a little scared. Fujison, yes. Afraid of what? His voice was very soft, with a taste of coaxing. I ignored you all the time yesterday, and you were very unhappy when you were on the boat. Ron whispered, I'm afraid you ignored me like in a dream. Fujison recalled, chuckled, no, I'm not unhappy. He squeezed the slender and white hands in his palm, loosened them one by one, and hooked her little finger. Ronyu was a little itchy, subconsciously wanted to shrink back, but was hooked by him again. Fujishan let go of her and bowed his head. Head to head, with hot breath, Ronyu could see the broken light in his eyes and slightly trembling eyelashes, delicate cheeks and light red lips. She looked away uncomfortably, and asked calmly, "Then what's wrong with you?" Fujishan chuckled. The voice was extremely slow, but it was like a firework was burning in her ears, and she gave him a shy glance. Fujishan was still smiling. "I'm not unhappy." His breath flowed in her nostrils. "I was just thinking." Fujishan gently clasped her little finger tightly, and described the beauty of her fingertips in the palm of his hand. "I was thinking, how can the word panic escape your world?" Ronyu pursed her lips and asked with a blushing face, "Have you thought about it?" Fujishan nodded. His eyes paused for a while on her red lips. He took a deep breath, stood up straight and calmly distanced himself from her. "Take a break." Ronyu nodded. With a blushing face, she ran back to the bed and shrank into the quilt, only revealing a pair of watery eyes. "Fujishan, hey, turn your back to me." Ronyu's thin voice came from the cup, and the small words scratched back and forth in her heart like a cat's paw. "Why? I've always wanted to see it." "Don't turn around, I always want to see it." "Can't go away." Ronyu's face turned red, and she turned her back to him. Hurry up, hurry up." Fujishan chuckled, stood and watched for a while, then gently closed the door and left. Ronyu suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. He raised the little finger of his left hand and looked at it for a while, covered his face and nestled happily under the blanket. The third day of the variety show continued as usual. Ronyu fell asleep again, and it was already 10:42 when she woke up. Fujishan made breakfast for everyone, and when Ronyu woke up, he went into the kitchen and made another one. With Fujishan's words, Ronyu dared to snub him generously, took the breakfast plate pretending not to be familiar with it, and sat in the living room to eat breakfast. They spent a whole day shopping in the scenic spots arranged by the director team. Before dinner at night, Ronyu didn't eat much. Lee Jin asked the director to turn off the camera in the live broadcast room and practice how to make longevity noodles alone. 5 people, Ronyu, Chi Jian, Wenjuki, Jiu Fusion, and Jian Kuai, were playing at the table. "I guess." They looked towards the kitchen several times, wanting to seeing if he could find an opportunity to replace Lee Jin and help Fujishan make a bowl of longevity noodles, but after several puzzled looks from Jiu Fusion, he completely let go of this idea. At 10:30 in the evening, the live broadcast room was closed again. Except for Fujishan, everyone began to mysteriously follow Director Mu's plan to prepare for the upcoming birthday party in an hour and a half. Fujishan didn't realize it. He had something on his mind today, and after the live broadcast ended, he kept looking for an opportunity to talk to Jiu Fusion. Ronyu's nightmare was infinitely magnified in his heart. Fujishan's eyes darkened. Jiu Fuchen, Ronyu, Jian Kuai, Chi Jian, and Wenjuki sat in the living room of the hotel to delay time according to the plan. Lee Jin and Luke Swan are setting up the birthday party in the next room. The birthday cake is in the small room next to the interview. After midnight, Jiu Fusion, Jian Kuai, and Lee Jin can push it over together, and then everyone will sing a birthday song and say some blessings, so that Fujishan can experience 1 year older happy feeling. The birthday party can be successfully concluded. Although Jiu Fusion was a little dissatisfied with the fact that Fujishan and Yayo had CP fans, they were good friends after all, and he didn't care about Fujishan on such a happy day as his birthday. Fujishan sat by and waited for the opportunity. Until 11:35, Jiu Fusion remained motionless, sitting there playing games with Ronyu. Backgammon, Go, checkers, and chess all came once. The group of people still hadn't dispersed, and who else was playing together? "It's undercover." "Right, I'm bored, but I won't withdraw," written on my face. Fujishan frowned. The staff came in to talk to Ronyu about tomorrow's itinerary, and other staff went to the kitchen to replenish ingredients, and the door of the hotel was always open. It was a bit cold at night. Ronyu didn't wear much. She tightly packed her knitted jacket. Fujishan subconsciously went to the other side of the sofa and handed her the blanket, and Ronyu took it. Jiu Fusion glanced at it, but remained silent. Chi Jian, Wenjuki, and Jian Huai also took a look. But the three of them, Qi Jian, Jiyu Fuxian, and Jian Huai, really didn't think much about it. First, Yo-Yo is already very cold. Second, Fujishan was very careful. He found that Yayo was cold, but they didn't, it was their own problem. Jiyu Fuchen became serious. No wonder my sister and Fujishan have so many CP fans on the internet. Come to think of it, with how much he cares about people, there should be quite a few CP fans with Qi Jian. Jiyu Fuchen heaved a sigh of relief. Fujishan didn't want to hide anymore, so he walked to Jiyu Fuxian's side. Go out and enjoy the air? Jiyu Fuchen raised his eyebrows. He turned his head to look at the time. 11:42. Go through the remaining 18 minutes, and then take him to the birthday party. Okay. Jiyu Fuchen got up. He was already tired after sitting in the living room for so long. Li Jin and Luke Swan just came back after tidying up the room. Seeing Jiyu Fuxian and Fujishan going out, they asked suspiciously, "What are they going out for?" Ron Yu was sitting on the other side of the sofa with a blanket on and was talking to the staff about the itinerary, not paying attention to the other people. Qi Jian, blow the air. Li Jin, it's so late, why don't you go out to have a hairdryer? While chatting, Director Mu hurriedly ran in. It's broken. Mr. Fu took Mr. Jiyu to the side of the interview room. Jian Huai was taken aback. Is there cake there? Director Mu nodded. Li Jin, hurry up and grab people. Director Mu, I can't hold back. Mr. Fu said that he has something very important to discuss with Mr. Jiyu, and he must go to a quiet place where no one is around. Qi Jian frowned slightly. There should be a camera there today, right? Director Mu nodded repeatedly, but he dare not say it. It was originally a utility room, but a camera was installed there for Fujishan's birthday party, in order to record the warm scene of Jiyu Fuxian, Li Jin, and Jian Huai pushing the cake for Fujishan. There is no live broadcast in the evening, but it will be recorded and broadcast, and later edited and broadcast. Fujishan's birthday party is the highlight of the fourth recording. Luke Swan had a bitter face. Have you gone in? Yes. Jiyu Fuxian didn't check for a while, but was pushed in by Fujishan. Luke Swan spread her hands together. If there is no surprise, then there will be no surprise. Maybe he also remembers that tomorrow is his birthday. What made Luke Swan curious was not this, but why does Brother Jishan only ask Ron Chen Chen to go out? When Juki roughly guessed what Fujishan wanted to do, but seeing that the others were still at a loss, he couldn't help but raised a few words. I don't know. After Fujishan gave Ron Yu a blanket, he stood beside Jiyu Fuxian, and the two went out. Li Jin, what blanket? Qi Jian's voice was light. Just now when the door opened, Ron Yu was a little cold. We didn't notice it, but Fujishan gave her a blanket after seeing it. Li Jin nodded. It's really careful. Luke Swan scratched her head. Sister Qi, did Brother Jishan give you a blanket? Without. She turned her head to look at Wenjuki. No. Jian Huai didn't take it seriously. Mr. Rose Fu has always been careful. It's just a blanket. Luke Swan shook her head. Love makes Luke Swan very sensitive. She didn't take the tomato fish matter to heart. After watching Fujishan and Yayo's CP video after yesterday, Luke Swan always felt that things were not that simple. She said solemnly, he only gave Yayo. Jian Huai wondered, what happened to Bodai's art the sister? When Juki emphasized, it was only given to you. Luke Swan nodded repeatedly. Brother, did Brother Jishan treat you carefully? Li Jin shook his head. Brother Jianguai, what about you? Jian Huai shook his head. Is Sister Qi cold just now? Qi Jian was silent. For a moment, it was really cold. Luke Swan, so, he only gave you care, does that mean? Before the words fell, everyone looked straight at Ron Yu. Ron Yu, who had just finished talking about the itinerary with the staff, rubbed her neck, raised her eyes, and met their fiery eyes. After the staff left, Luke Swan asked solemnly, Yayo, the person Brother Jishan likes is you, isn't it? Ron Yu. Same moment. Jiyu Fuxian and Fujishan sat down in the small room next to the interview room. Fujishan came in and saw the birthday cake, belatedly remembering that tomorrow is his birthday. For the past 2 days, he has been thinking about other things, and the trivial matter of his birthday has been completely forgotten by him. Jiyu Fuxian, since you saw it, don't hide it, I'm tired. Ji Fuxian sat on the bench, yawned sleepily, and asked lazily, "What do you want to tell me?" Fu Jizhen hesitated. Ji Fuxian smiled lightly, raised his wrist and glanced. "Don't worry, it's your birthday in 2 minutes. I won't be angry at what you say. I want you to have a happy and beautiful birthday." The two of them sat at the little table where the cake was placed. You can touch the position of the cake by raising your hand. The cake has 3 layers, and on the top layer stands a cute boss in a suit and tie. Fu Jizhen pondered for a while. He didn't want Yao to have any more nightmares about this matter, and he didn't want his princess to have any worries because of this matter. Fu Jizhen raised his eyes, and his deep eyes met Ji Fuxian's. The broken light in his eyes disappeared, and his expression became serious. Ji Fuxian suppressed his smile unconsciously. The last time Fu Jizhen was so serious was when he dealt with his cold-blooded relatives. "What? Something in the company?" "Fu Jizhen, I'm in love." The voice was solemn, but the ending sound rose involuntarily. When saying these 4 words, there was a little joy that could not be hidden. Ji Fuxian was stunned, and after regaining consciousness, he said seriously, "Good thing." Fu Jizhen fell in love, his sister was freed, and no longer had to be knocked off CP. Who is the mysterious girl? I believe that no matter who you are, you can be happy with you. You are now the only national boyfriend among us. You have all the good qualities of a boyfriend. If you fall in love with you, you will definitely be able to get happiness. Ji Fuxian spared no effort to praise, for fear that Fu Jizhen would break up with his mysterious girlfriend, and his sister would cause another scandal. "Good thing, I wish you a long time." The small room fell silent. Fu Jizhen ticked his little finger. He wasn't very nervous at first, but when he heard these 2 passages, his voice became hoarse. The bell at 12 o'clock officially rang. Amidst the fiery fireworks of the program group, 3 words sounded in Ji Fuxian's ears. "Yeah." The second after the final sound of yo fell, there was a pop. A cake was stuck on Fu Jizhen's face. Chapter 100. The 3rd layer of cake landed precisely on Fu Jizhen's face. Ji Fuxian threw the cake stand on the small table, feeling restless for a long time. Long term is a lie. Ji Fuxian, who was angry, was in a panic. In the living room of the homestay, Ronyu was pulled and dragged by Lu Xuan to the door of the small room next to the interview room. Jiang Huai and Lu Jin followed stiffly, and hadn't recovered from "my good brother fell in love with my Bodhisattva sister / my idol." Hearing Ji Fuxian's voice, Ronyu hurriedly opened the door. On the bench, Ji Fuxian had a slumped face, and the face of the man next to him was covered with cream, with strawberries sticking to his short hair, and his short hair was precarious, looking extremely embarrassed. "You don't need to think about it to know what happened just now." Ronyu ran over in a few small steps, and while wiping Fu Jizhen's eyes with a handkerchief from her arms, she looked at Ji Fuxian several times with aggrieved eyes. "Brother, let's talk about it. You really used cake to confuse him." Ron Chen was even more wronged. "He cheated my sister away. I only used 1 layer of cake to paste him, and left 2 layers for him. It's already very good. He is a great good man." Ronyu was at a loss for words, hesitated for a while and did not speak, and concentrated on wiping the cream on Fu Jizhen's eyes. The 2 were very close. The fragrant creamy smell overflows the tip of the nose. "Ron Chen, show affection in front of him." Ron Chen gritted his teeth, took the scarf from Ronyu's hand, and quickly stuffed it into Fu Jizhen's hand. "Wipe it yourself." Ronyu glanced at her older brother, and secretly tugged at Fu Jizhen's sleeve. "Go and wash your face." She had already wiped his eyes for him just now. Now that Fu Jizhen opened his eyes, he could still see the world in front of him clearly. When he raised his eyes, Ronyu was standing behind Ji Fuxian, secretly winking at him, telling him to leave quickly. "Let's go," she said silently. When Juki smiled lightly, "Boss Fu, go wash your face. Is there anything I need to talk about later?" Jiang Huai and Lu Jin looked at Mr. Rose Fu, who was in such a mess, and the anger in their hearts dissipated by 8 points. If you want to fall in love with Ronyu, how can you do it without paying a little? After Fu Jizhen left, Ronyu dragged Ji Fuxian to the rooftop on the 3rd floor of the B&B. There was no lens or camera there, so it was an excellent place for chatting. All the way without words. With a sullen face, Ji Fuxian expressed the 10 words. Brother is very angry and the consequences are serious with actions. Brother, don't be angry. Falling in love is not a matter of one person. Then I'm already with him. At the end, her voice became smaller and smaller. Ji Fuxian raised his eyebrows, but before he could speak, Ronyu said first, Brother, even if you find me 18 handsome men, I will not be shaken. Ji Fuxian, it's all because he's too confident. The war hasn't started yet, and everyone has already told the strategy. Ji Fuxian was silent for a long time, and asked forcefully, When are you together? Ronyu clasped her little finger, lowered her head and dared not look at Ji Fuxian. The third day after returning from the beach. Day 3. Ji Fuxian was annoyed. 1 layer of paste is too little. I really should paste the remaining 2 layers to him. Body, superior. I think it's good to fall in love. Ronyu poked his shoulder and muttered softly. Ji Fuxian's face was sullen, and he didn't know what to say. Reason told him that if his sister falls in love, Fujisan is actually the best candidate. Fujisan is considerate enough and understands him well enough. Fujisan made a vague promise 2 days ago that even if Ronyu falls in love, it will not affect the status of her family in her heart. More importantly, he will not let his sister be wronged in the slightest. Judging from the boyfriend's love standard, Fujisan has done a good job. Even so, Ji Fuxian was still angry. This man secretly abducted him. Sister, you. Ji Fuxian cleared his throat, and said solemnly, Which step have we reached? Ronyu instantly retracted her small hand, pinched the corner of her clothes, and said in a low voice, Just hold hands. Ji Fuxian is still a human being. Ronyu happily said, Yes. Ji Fuxian's eyes were cold. Ronyu shrugged her shoulders, continued to lower her head and twist the corner of her clothes, not daring to boast anymore. Ji Fuxian frowned. You like him? Ronyu nodded repeatedly. Sure. Ronyu continued to nod. Have you prepared a birthday present with him? Ronyu chicken pecked rice and nodded. Ji Fuxian was silent for a while. The night is slightly cool, the moonlight is like water, the vague laughter of tourists around comes from the hotel, and the breeze blows across the treetops, rustling endlessly. Ji Fuxian's voice was stained with the softness of the moonlight. Let's go. Ronyu was stunned, her apricot eyes followed the pace of his getting up, and she was still sitting blankly on the bench on the roof of the hotel. Stop giving gifts to Fujisan. Ji Fuxian patted her on the head. Ronyu finally came back to her senses, her eyes flickered. Did you forgive him? No. Ji Fuxian replied stiffly, I just don't want him to have the opportunity to pretend to be wronged and become green tea. Ronyu didn't believe it. Huaxi took Ji Fuxian's hand and bounced downstairs. Fujisan will not use this to pretend to be wronged, because he has not passed his birthday to pretend to be sympathetic, and his brother will not worry about him pretending to be wronged. 2 people have a clear mind. Ronyu, my brother is really the best in the world. Ji Fuxian hummed lightly. Fujisan didn't want Ronyu to be troubled by trivial matters, and Ji Fuxian did the same. In the living room of the homestay, Fujisan followed closely the 2 people who came down the stairs. When Juki, it's finally down. Can I rest early after blowing out the candles, everyone? Ji Fuxian casually Okay, you can make a wish and blow out the candles. Ronyu stood beside Fujisan, and gently shook his wrist with the hand hidden under the table. Make a wish. Fujisan was slightly taken aback. Ji Fuxian stood opposite him with a calm expression on his face. After meeting his gaze, he frowned impatiently. Hurry up and make a wish. Like an annoyed big dog that hasn't been groomed yet. Fujisan chuckled, closed his eyes and made a wish. Half an hour later, when the others left after making a fuss, Ronyu mysteriously pulled Fujisan to the door of the room, and stuffed the small gift box in the suitcase into his arms. My present. Ronyu rubbed her ears and whispered, Go back to your room and watch. Fujisan laughed in a low voice. Yes. He was about to say something, when Ronyu caught a glimpse of Jiang Huai, Li Jin, and Luke Swan who had just come up from downstairs, and said quickly, Go back quickly. Then he slammed the door shut, ashamed to show off in front of his friends. The door. Fujisan looked at Jiang Huai, Li Jin, and Luke Swan playfully, and then walked towards the door of the room with a hidden smile. but was interrupted by Jiang Huai, who stepped forward. I have a question. Fu Jizhen hugged the gift box in his arms tightly and remained silent. It's not your gift. Jiang Huai rolled his eyes secretly. I just want to ask, why did you change your profile picture to a rose? Luke Swan interjected, is it because of Yao's trumpet, the prairie used by the old man? Do you want to have a couple profile picture with her? Fu Jizhen nodded. Jack, it really is? Let me just say, brother Jianguai, you still don't believe me. Jack, I didn't know he would lose his mind and use the couple profile picture with Lao Chu. Several people whispered, and when they came back to their senses, Fu Jizhen's figure had disappeared in the corridor. Li Jin, okay, you guys are chatting very hotly, and he just went back to his room to look at his precious gift. In the room, Fu Jizhen sat in front of the coffee table and slowly tore off the tape on the outer layer of wrapping paper, carefully preserving the original appearance of the wrapping paper, large and small pink hearts. A simple wrapping paper. I don't know how long it took to tear it off. It was so long that the phone on the coffee table vibrated for 2 seconds. Ronyu couldn't hold back her anticipation, and hastily sent an inquiry message. Do you like it? Shake your head. GIF. The room was quiet, and the joy and anticipation of receiving the gift fluttered in every corner of the room like a pink heart. Fu Jizhen's jawline was tense, and he gently opened the lid of the gift box. It is snowing in the crystal ball. It was the crystal ball he was very familiar with, the one he gave her in the name of a guardian angel. It's a little different. In the fantasy castle, there is Chuksha, a princess with a bright smile, and a reduced version of him in the same proportion. On the small card next to the crystal ball, the handwriting is beautiful and beautiful. Fu Jizhen stroked every word on the small card with his fingertips, feeling extremely gentle and joyful. The wind outside the window is like water, and the wicker dances softly with the wind in spring, and everything is quiet. The moonlight fell, inadvertently illuminating the words on the small card. Fu Jizhen enters Ronyu's world. In the next 2 days, Ronyu asked Wei when to contact the program team to discuss with them about temporarily keeping the relationship secret, while recording the program as usual. He didn't deliberately avoid Fu Jizhen, nor did he deliberately stay together. 2 days later, the recording of the variety show ended. On the plane home, Jiu Fuxian glanced at the young couple who were tired of being together, and hummed softly, Yao. Ronyu tilted her head. Jiu Fuxian pulled Fu Jizhen to the other side, sat down beside Ronyu, and asked Fu Jizhen, who was across the aisle from him, have you thought about how to confess to my parents? Luke Swan, I heard that Uncle Jiu and Aunt Ron already knew about this. My parents are watching a play at Jiu's house now. Brother Jizhen, don't be afraid. Sincerity is the ultimate skill to defeat everything. Li Jin, did Mom and Dad go to Jiu's house? Okay, he will also go to the theater later. Even if you don't really punish anything, you can still look forward to one more cake face, right, Bushy? He must be made to realize that falling in love with a group pet is not that simple. Chapter 101. After Jiu Yuchen and Ron Liu learned that Ronyu was in love, they stayed up all night worried. The feeling that the princess in the family was snatched by the pig is not good. The next morning, Li's father and Li's mother, who learned from Princess Luxuan that Ronyu was dating Fu Jizhen, appeared at Jiu's house. Very good. It's time to watch your friends laugh. Not long ago, Luxuan didn't want to go back to the house where Luxuan was dating, and Li's parents and mothers were so worried that the words on the front of the forehead did not come down. Jiu Yuchen and Ron Liu also generously told them not to be angry, saying that young people are like this, practical proof of the pleasure of gloating. Now Feng Shui turns, and it's their turn to watch. Qi's father and Qi's mother didn't have this kind of thought, they were simply surprised by Fu Jizhen's and Ronyu's love. When they heard that Li's mother and Li's mother were coming, the two people who were leisurely and old age were not to be outdone, and followed. Mother Fu wanted to help her son, but was stopped by a text message as soon as she went out. The Jiu family was extremely lively today. When Ronyu arrived, there were several people standing in front of the musical fountain in front of the western building. The wheels stopped slowly, and the figure outside the window gradually became clear. In the small garden ahead, Ron Liu and Jiu Yuchen were tending the flowers and plants. Ji Chen stood upright and handed the scissors to his wife and picked up the weeds in her hand. Ron Liryu had a calm expression. Lu's father, Lu's mother, Chi's father, Chi's mother were chatting aside, and when they saw the shadow of the car, they all looked at it with a smile. Ji Chen and Ron Liryu still maintained their original postures. Ron Yu was in a bad mood, grabbed Fujishan's clothes and whispered, "I'll help you later." Fujishan sat upright, his gaze fell out of the window. The closer he got to Jiyu's family, the stiffer his back became. No need. He clenched his hands tightly, hiding the sweat in his palms, and deliberately lowered his voice when talking to Ron Yu. "I can handle it." Ron Yu wanted to say something else, but she vaguely felt Yudao's fiery figure swirling around her body, and when she looked forward, Jiyu Fushin's face was numb. "My sister shows affection in front of me." Except for Wenjuki, everyone else looked at the two of them with a half smile. Ron Yu withdrew her hand silently, and the butler stepped forward to open the door. After she got off the car, she went straight to Ron Liryu and Jiyu Chen. "Dad, Mom Tilda. As the saying goes, reach out and don't hit a smiling face." As soon as Ron Yu got out of the car, she showed unusual joy. Her smile was like a sunflower and very contagious. Ron Liryu couldn't hold back her anger. Ron Yu tilted her head and called again with a smile, "Mom Tilda." Ron Liryu sighed, and nodded her head helplessly. "Let's go, it's so cold outside." She held Ron Liryu's arm and walked home with her mother while talking. The small living room on the first floor is close to the rear garden, and the view from the floor-to-ceiling windows is very good. It is usually arranged here for small family meetings or when Ron Liryu and Jiyu Chen chat with friends. The spring is everywhere outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, and the lake behind the small garden is gurgling, and the beauty is full of poetry, and the mood will always get better unconsciously. Tea was already prepared in the small living room, and Ron Yu sat obediently next to Ron Liryu, handed her mother her favorite black tea, and served coffee to Jiyu Chen, with a very good attitude. Jiyu Fushin sat next to Jiyu Chen, facing Ron Yu, with a wide mahogany tea table in between. The seat next to her was empty, and while passing Ron Liryu some snacks, she looked up at the door. There are several bright windows in the small living room, which is very bright. The spring outside the window is accompanied by the clear and bright light in the small living room, covering the figure at the door. Fujishan's good-looking jawline is tight. He is wearing a midnight blue sweater, and his index finger is secretly pinching the corner of the clothes. Behind the calm and gentleness on the surface is the restraint of meeting his parents as a boyfriend for the first time. He has been to Jiyu's house many times, and in his eyes, the familiar courtyard and the small living room with bright and clean windows are full of judgment and strangeness. "Look up." Inadvertently bumped into a light smile. The apricot pupils are curved, the spring light is reflected in the eyes, and the smiling eyes are looking at him. Fujishan recalled the scene when she offered to help him but he refused, and tilted his head uncomfortably. Meeting parents is more difficult than he imagined. Fujishan pursed his lips and said politely, "Uncle Jiyu, Aunt Ron." Then she turned her head, "Uncle Lu, Aunt Lu, Uncle Chi, Aunt Chi." Lu Jin, Lu Xuan, Jian Kuai, and Chi Jian laughed lightly, skipped this step, and generously chose a seat to sit down. Only he, from being a friend of Jiyu's family to Ron Yu's boyfriend, and the very ordinary meeting for Lu Jin, Lu Xuan, Jian Kuai, and Chi Jian, became the grand scene for Fujishan to meet his parents for the first time. Ron Yu secretly poked the position next to her, motioning for him to go over. In the audience, only that seat was still vacant. Fujishan bit the bullet and sat down. As soon as she was seated, Ron Yu picked up a bowl of her favorite almond tofu with smiling eyes, showing her love for him generously. "Try the most authentic almond tofu." Facing Ron Liryu's and Jiyu Chen's strange gazes, Fujishan quickly took the piece that he didn't dare to keep for another second and put it back on the coffee table. But Ron Yu's operations don't stop there. As soon as Fujishan put it away, she moved her position, and the distance between the two of them was shortened from 10 centimeters to 0.1 millimeters, and Ron Yu stood next to him as if no one else was there. Fujishan moved 2 centimeters away in a hurry, and said in a low voice, "Sit down." "I'm ready to sit," Ron Yu said confidently, and held hands firmly. When Fujishan struggled again, he glared at him. One insists on showing her love for her boyfriend generously, and the other is obedient and cautious in front of her future father-in-law, mother-in-law and uncle, for fear of exceeding the slightest. Ronyu insisted on helping, but Fujishan refused. Ron Liryu, Jiu Yuchen, and Jiu Fushin saw the young couple's sneaky tricks, and the three of them raised their foreheads together. Ronyu originally planned to let Fujishan work hard to convince his parents, but suddenly changed his mind a dozen seconds ago. Fujishan, who has always been calm and careful, stood at the door like a big idiot. He almost walked with his hands and feet together. He was a little cute and a little funny. Jiu Yuchen put on a straight face on purpose. Yayo, don't squeeze, sit here. On the couch, Ronyu and Fujishan squeezed to the corner, and there was still 2/3 of the space next to it empty. Ronyu obediently said oh, and when she moved a little to the side, she still didn't forget to grab Fujishan, who just wanted to keep a distance from her at this moment, so that her future father-in-law, future mother-in-law and future brother-in-law could have a better impression of her. Ron Liryu held his forehead, but stopped talking. Mother Lee chuckled, I heard that Jia-Jan has someone he likes some time ago. I thought it was a joke, but I didn't expect it to be us. When it comes to liking, Fujishan's expression is obviously relieved. Well, yes. Ronyu bowed her head, her fluffy ball head danced lightly with her slight shaking. The secret poke reveals her joy at the moment. She secretly glanced at Fujishan, and after meeting his gaze, she hurriedly dodged again, secretly tapping her knee with her fingertips resting on her knee. The cute ball head shook with some pride. Ron Liryu frowned, your mother didn't come today. Fujishan nodded, and spoke to Ron Liryu in a tight voice. She encountered something temporarily today, and she will come to visit next time. Ron Liryu and Jiu Yuchen felt inexplicably more at ease. If Mrs. Fu came over, given the relationship between their two families, there would be no chance for them to have a small meeting to question Fujishan. Maybe under the strong siege of Yueyao and Mrs. Fu, this matter would just pass. Seeing her daughter's sweet face full of smiles, Ron Liryu pondered for a while, not knowing what to say. Her daughter's likes are hidden in her eyes, and it is absolutely impossible for her to make her daughter unhappy. Jiu Yuchen suffered from angina. More than 20 years ago, he snatched his wife from his father-in-law and mother-in-law in the same way. Feng Shui took turns, and retribution was coming. If the daughter likes to be in a relationship, it will make her happy, and they will not be more reluctant to stop it. But there is one thing that is important. Jiu Yuchen's tone was heavy. Hey, love is like war. How to control the right to speak is very important, and you can't be led by the nose by the other party. This sentence was said to Ronyu, but in fact, he was also mentioning Fujishan. The daughter of their Jiu family must not be wronged in the slightest when they are in love. She is what she says, and she must be put first and foremost at all times. Ronyu scratched her head and muttered softly, why didn't I see you go to war? Jiu Yuchen, of course, only your mother can win. I have lost for many years. Luke Swan teased, Uncle Jiu, so you are still the representative of Sanghao husband. Jiu Yuchen smiled to hide his achievements and fame. That's the basic quality of a good man. Fujishan straightened his back, and his voice was deep, like a promise, more serious. Uncle, I will learn from you and lose for many years. The warm spring sun outside the window conveyed word by word to Ronyu's ears, with infinite warmth and his unique sweetness. The corners of Ronyu's lips were raised, she sat upright, and looked at him several times with her smart eyes. Jiu Yuchen was at a loss for words. The future son-in-law's mouth is sweeter than his original one. Ron Liryu and Jiu Yuchen had nothing to say. It was the old housekeeper who came to say that the Chinese food was ready, and Ronyu was still hungry, like a deflated love balloon. Can you have another trial after dinner? I'm already hungry. Ron Liryu, all right, let's go eat. Ron Liryu and Jiu Yuchen both understand that if Yuya wants to fall in love, Fujishan is undoubtedly the best candidate. He liked her enough to protect her. Of course they want their daughter to have a good life. If she thinks that love can make her life more perfect, they can't object when enjoying the sweetness of the moment. That's the only way parents can be. Watch her start a family and start a business, and watch her walk on the road of her dreams. Ron Liryu and Jiu Yuchen had been missing in her life for a full 20 years, and those were the years that accompanied her growth the most. They were lost, and now they can never be found again. Finding their daughter was their wish in the first half of their lives, making their daughter happy and worry-free is their wish now. Fujishan stayed until the dinner was over before leaving. At 7 o'clock in the evening, Ronyu took the coat and tentatively said to Ron Liryu, "Mom, I'll go see him off." Ron Liryu looked at her for a while, then nodded for a while. "Go." Ronyu smiled, put on her coat and disappeared in an instant. Water splashes outside the music fountain, and the lights are dim. Fujishan heard light footsteps behind him and stood still. His slender figure was reflected on the cool ground. A few meters away, a shadow happily ran towards the tall figure, like a light swallow, and fell steadily into his arms, successfully crossing the tribulation. "Are you happy?" Ronyu raised her head and asked him with a smile. The air after being wet by water was fresh, and the surroundings were clear and silent. Fujishan lowered his head and chuckled, stroking her hair wet by a drop of water, and resting his forehead against her chin. The temperature of the hug is intertwined with the dim streetlights. The figures under the lamp were one high and one low, slowly overlapping each other. Above the head, there was a flickering fountain, which exploded above like fireworks. Happy, the happiest day ever. Ronyu rubbed against his arms, her chin pressed against his chest, and she raised her head. A pair of almond eyes stared at him motionlessly. Fujishan covered her eyes uncomfortably. Ronyu chuckled, "You're so nervous today." Fujishan pursed his lips and said solemnly, "You will also be nervous when you see my mother in the future." Ronyu snorted softly, "Won't. Aunt, she likes me." Fujishan smiled lightly and remained silent. "Are you busy tomorrow?" He silently changed the subject. Ronyu shook her head, her eyes were bright. It was so bright that people wanted to hide her. "Where are we going?" Chapter 102. Ronyu didn't expect that Fujishan would take her to the ancient town for another boat trip. It is still the ancient town where variety shows were recorded. A boat is also a rowing boat. The boat wobbled on the lake, and only she and Fujishan were left among the 8 people recording the variety show. Ronyu lay on Fujishan's shoulder, looking up at him. The slightly protruding Adam's apple rolled, the mandibular line was perfect, the corners of the lips were slightly raised, and the expression could not be seen clearly. It seemed to be extremely happy. His hands were suddenly clenched, and his breath filled his nostrils. A touch of warmth and sweetness. When recording variety shows, Fujishan bowed his head, his eyes reflecting her face. "I really wanted to do this." Ronyu thought of the scene where she was sitting on the bow and he was at the stern. At that time, the sky was gloomy, and he looked at the lake thoughtfully, not knowing what he was thinking. "Then what else do you want to do?" Ronyu raised her head, and the words she said were more touching than the spring outside. "I will accompany you." Fujishan smiled lightly, his eyes brightened, and he looked straight into her eyes. The smile on the corner of his mouth gradually disappeared, and his deep eyes were full of her appearance. The bright apricot eyes make people's heart beat beyond words, and the heart beats with her shallow breathing. The scenery outside the boat is picturesque, and a more beautiful painting is reflected on the gurgling water. Ronyu's eyes suddenly felt warm and generous, and her slightly trembling eyelashes swept across his palms. A hand covered her eyes, and when she couldn't see, the world became inexplicably sensitive. In a daze, the light panting breath in the ears gradually became heavy amidst the rippling water, and the warm breath flowed through the hair, and there was a warm tingling feeling. Ronyu shook her head uncomfortably. The moment he grabbed his hand, there was a wet touch on his forehead. The warm wood and sweet fragrance bloomed between his forehead. He pursed his lips, held her hand tightly, and lightly tapped the back of her hand with the corner of his lips. His breath lingered, and was frozen in his nostrils. Ronyu breathed slightly and pursed her lips. Between the rippling water and the breath after breath, the world seems to pass an extraordinarily long time. The cheeks were crimson, hotter than the wet and trembling red lips. Ronyu shook his hands and wanted to run away, but the trembling red lips were approached by another kind of hotness in an instant, green and slow, mixed with the sweet smell of wormwood, diffused between the teeth. She seemed to have fallen into the lawn in the spring of March. Under the bright sunshine, his shadow was reflected on her body, a kiss that made people's heart palpitate and tremble. Want to do that? Fujisan's breathing was slightly stagnant, and he leaned against her ear, his voice low and hoarse. Sensitive ears were numb, Ronyu's body was weak, and she patted his shoulder heavily with a blushing face. Fujisan smiled lowly. Strawberries are so sweet. Ronyu stared at him inexplicably, not knowing what he was talking about, and seemed to be looking at the scenery outside the ship calmly. When the cruise ship disembarked, Fujisan held her hand, and when she passed a strawberry vendor, Ronyu's cheeks flushed instantly. Do you still want to eat strawberries? He turned his head and asked with a smile. Ronyu, don't eat. Just don't eat. But before you got on the boat, you praised the delicious strawberries here. Ronyu was so angry that she stood on tiptoe and lay behind him, covering his mouth. The warm breath sprinkled on the palm of the hand, hot, like the smell just now. Ronyu's heart trembled. She withdrew her hand and stammered, "You are not allowed to speak for the next 10 minutes. Fujisan nodded. Hold her hand tightly and write stroke by stroke. Don't be angry, princess. Ronyu ignored him, and quickly ran to the parking lot with her mask on. I went back after dinner in the evening. When passing through the third ring road, the traffic suddenly became congested. Fujisan, an event is being held on the lake in front. After waiting for several traffic lights, the road finally became smoother. The lakeside that Fujisan said is very lively. It is probably a national tide event. Many young people are gathered there. The lake is sparkling. There are cute little yellow ducks floating by, and there are countless buildings in the distance. At night, it emits various lights. There are 2 small bars near the lake. Ronyu seems to have heard from Lu Ming that this place is a place for famous couples to check in. Ronyu lingered watching the bustling place. Want to go? Fujisan asked suddenly. Ronyu shook her head. Although driven by variety shows, the ancient town has become a famous tourist check-in project, but because today is a working day, there are not many people going to the ancient town to play, and among so many projects, there are not many people going on a cruise. He was fully armed, and never took off his mask and hat from start to finish except on the boat. If you get out of the car now, you will be too close to others, and you will inevitably run the risk of being exposed. There are too many people. Let's come when there is no one else. Okay, I'll listen to you. Ronyu will participate in a film and television ceremony in 3 days. She will participate as the boss of Breakdown Entertainment Company Everyday. Chenshin said that the film and television industry will present an award to her boss in recognition of her contributions to the film and television industry in the past period of time. Ronyu felt ashamed. The popularity of her artists has nothing to do with her, but the company's artists and all employees unanimously hope that she will participate, and with Chenshin's persuasion, Ronyu thinks that there is nothing to do in daily life, and it is okay to experience the grand occasion of the entertainment industry today. Agreed. To her surprise, Fujisan also received the invitation. However, he is presenting awards to others as an award presenter. Hearing that Ronyu would be there, Fujisan, who had never shown up on such occasions before, accepted the invitation uncharacteristically. On the way back, Ronyu turned her head and asked again, "Are you really going?" Ronyu scratched her head. "Will it affect your business?" "No." Ronyu suddenly became serious. "Today is Wednesday. My brother, Li Jin, and Jian Huai have all gone to the company. Aren't you busy?" Fujisan explained. "Before the start of the variety show, I compressed the things to be dealt with in the future, those who should go on business trips, and the rest. The special assistant communicated with me online, and I went back to deal with it at night." Ronyu frowned. "Then you have to go back to look at the documents at night?" Fujisan chuckled. "Not tired." While talking, the car drove into the door of Jiyu's house. Ronyu unfastened her seat belt and got out of the car, followed by Fujisan. "It's all at the door. I'll just go in. You hurry back to deal with business. Don't be too tired." Ronyu ordered sternly. "Did you hear that?" Fujisan stood in front of her and nodded heavily. "I know, I'll go back when you go in." Ronyu nodded, and said again, "Don't meet each other for the next 2 days. You should take care of the company's affairs." Just after the variety show ended, he must have piled up a lot of things to solve just like Jiyu Fusion, so he must stay up late tonight. Thinking of this, Ronyu pouts. Fujisan himself still had a faint smile on his face, and looked at her with a gentle expression. Like a cute and gentle bear who won't get angry. Ronyu couldn't get angry, rubbed his face with both hands, and asked helplessly, Mr. Fu, if this continues, what will happen to your group? Fujisen smiled even deeper. The princess is concerned about his cause. The group is fine. If the shareholders know that my girlfriend is the famous old man, they will be happy. Ronyu, your idea is very dangerous. You are going further and further on the road to eating soft food. Fujisen, will you let me eat soft food? Ronyu pursed her lips, seemed to think seriously for 2 seconds, and said seriously, I agree, but my parents and brother will not agree. Fujisen nodded. Well, it makes sense, the Jiyu family doesn't support idlers, especially the sacred position of son-in-law. If the whole family is working hard and only the son-in-law eats soft meals every day, Jiyu Fusion will faint from anger. He chuckled, go back, Ron Chen has already started to stare at me from the balcony. If you don't let go of my hand, how can I go? No goodnight kiss yet. Ronyu was helpless. Aren't you afraid that he will come down and beat you? He's down. While speaking, Jiyu Fuchen's heavy footsteps came from the door. Ronyu hurriedly pushed him into the driver's seat, took advantage of Jiyu Fuchen's inattention, bent down and kissed him on the forehead secretly, farewell kiss. As she said that, she hurriedly turned her head and ran to Jiyu Fuchin. Brother, go home. Jiyu Fuchin hummed lightly, go home at night, don't be in a daze at the door, what to do if you catch a cold? Yes yes yes. 3 days later, the day of the awards ceremony, Ronyu changed into her dress and went out. Dark green long-fringed dress, with a belt embellished with diamonds and precious stones around the waist, with little tassels, like stars shining in the night sky. She and Fujisen haven't seen each other in the past 3 days, and they are video chatting or voice chatting every day. Ronyu sent him today's beautiful dress. Cute, such a pretty princess, can you come in with me? Fat cat, no. Fat cat, I want to amaze the audience by myself. It was about 8 o'clock in the evening when we arrived at the live awards ceremony. Ronyu, Fujisen, including Lu Jin who came to join in the fun, did not walk the red carpet. According to the normal order, she should sit with some film and television bosses when she came to accept the award. Perhaps the show crew deliberately put her in the middle of Lu Jin and Fujisen to stir up the heat. The 3 of them sat together, and the topic was very high. Fans of variety shows also love to come and watch. This live broadcast of the awards ceremony was very casual, instead of making a long row of people one by one, but in a way similar to an annual meeting. Several people gathered around a round table with nuts, snack fruits and the like placed on it. There are only 3 people at the table of Ronyu, Fujisen, and Lu Jin, in the front row, and there are large tables of different sizes at the back, with 7 or 8 people at each table. Ronyu supported her chin with one hand. What are you doing here? Lu Jin, if I don't come, the 2 of you get together, and news of your relationship will be on the front page of the news tomorrow. No way. I have a lot of money, Ronyu retorted in a low voice. Lu Jin smiled, you know it, but your boyfriend doesn't. He beat around the bush and pretended to be a couple with you. Ronyu. She glanced at Fujisen, then turned her head. What couple outfit? The live broadcast of the awards ceremony has already started, and the director followed the normal process to show people the screen. Before the part of Ronyu, Fujisen, and Lu Jin, there were no shots of them on the big screen. But when the awards were over, the director always liked to show the shots on the 3 people with the highest heat on the field. Ronyu is not worried. Anyway, I don't know what they are talking about. Lu Jin, just look at the trending searches on Weibo and you'll understand. Ronyu raised her eyebrows, took out her mobile phone from her small bag and began browsing Weibo. The first hot search item, #Fujisen couple jewelry #. Ronyu. She was sure that she did not wear couple outfits or couple jewelry with Fujisen, and she even rejected the designer's couple matching to avoid suspicion. After clicking in, I found that Fujisen had a brooch pendant in the shape of a star hanging on his chest. It's okay to hang a brooch on the awards ceremony, but the problem is, this brooch is too small to fit Fujisen's black velvet suit today. The black velvet suit exudes a wild charm, while the small star pendant is very smart and small, and the 2 styles do not match. There is a sense of wearing a brooch for the sake of wearing a brooch. It is normal for ordinary star studios to have problems with collocation, but Fu Jizhen is a top man, surrounded by many well-known designers. How could such a simple mistake occur? Because of this trivial incident, the studio went crazy. Boss Fu secretly wants to pretend to be a couple with Ron Yu. Don't show off, can't I knock it off? Yo, stop talking to your idiot fans, look at our Boss Fu. You haven't talked to him for 5 minutes, Boss Fu is so wrong tat. My lover can't be, please say something. Only Ron Yu is still swiping her phone in the audience. Hurry up, have you heard our voices? The three of them have a good atmosphere, get together among friends, have fun, I'm so envious. The messages in the Weibo comment area are similar to the barrage in the live broadcast room of the awards ceremony. Ron Yu put down her phone and glanced at Fu Jizhen helplessly. Remove your star pendant. That's right, don't show off. Ben Juir is very upset. Li Jin imitated Lu Xuan's tone and criticized severely. Fu Jizhen, I like my star pendant. Besides, taking it off now is even more suspicious. Ron Yu had nothing to say. Fu Jizhen, don't be angry, eat some strawberries to calm down. As he spoke, he pushed the strawberry in front of Ron Yu. Thinking of the strawberry incident a few days ago, Ron Yu's ears still felt slightly hot. I don't want to eat it. Suspicious, Li Jin picked up a strawberry and tasted it. It was sour and sweet, and it was quite good. This strawberry is very good. Didn't you like to eat strawberries before? You have to try it. Ron Yu covered her face with her hands and looked at the stage solemnly. People change. I don't like it now. Fu Jizhen smiled lowly. The three of them didn't interact much. Apart from the applause after the awards ceremony in the first half, there were almost no scenes of them. The audience of the Heirs was in a hurry. One person's blood book begs for a separate live broadcast room for them. Top Fat Cat, Top Ron Yu, Top Ron Huang, the top three are here. Don't they deserve a live broadcast room from a separate perspective? When the bullet screen was full of noise, the awards that Ron Yu wanted were awarded on the spot at the awards ceremony. When the camera caught Ron Yu, Fu Jizhen got up and gently lifted the chair for her. He lowered his head and smiled without knowing what he said. Ron Yu paused for a second to listen to him, with focused eyes and a slight smile at the corner of his mouth, and walked straight to the stage. In order to match today's set of antique haute couture gifts, she wore a pair of 8 cm high heels. The stairs on the stage were a little slippery. Fu Jizhen was worried, and helped her up the stairs all the way. He waited until he was on the stage before retreating to his seat. Missy card face, this is Missy. Mr. Fu finally reacted when he heard the word Ron Yu, and spent the rest of the time peeling nuts for our young lady. Boss Fu is not here to present the award, he is here to accompany his wife to receive the award, Bushi. After Ron Yu finished accepting the award and sat down at the round table, Li Jin ate the pine nuts peeled by Fu Jizhen while gossiping. What did Fu Jizhen tell you just now that you are so happy? Ron Yu pursed her lips and smiled. I didn't say anything. Li Jin turned his attention to Fu Jizhen. It's really nothing. He just boasted that his princess was beautiful, that's all. Li Jin didn't get a satisfactory answer, so she couldn't help but switch to the complaining mode. Aren't you too obvious that a road can't wait to become a celebration road leading to the wedding? If you know it, you will know it, and it will be made public when the time comes. Ron Yu muttered in a low voice. Li Jin shook his head. I don't want to sit in this place full of the sour smell of love anymore. Half an hour later, near the end, Ron Yu was almost full from eating nuts. The host read her name and Fu Jizhen's name for the second time. This time, as film and television investors, they will go on stage to present awards to newcomers and actors. Both Ron Yu and Fu Jizhen knew about this process. For the 6 newcomers, she presented awards to the 3 newcomers on the left, and Fu Jizhen presented awards to the 3 newcomers on the right. Fu Jizhen raised his hand, motioning for Ron Yu to hold his hand. It's a bit slippery. It rained last night and the ground was wet, so the stage where so many people stepped on was naturally somewhat wet. Ron Yu didn't hesitate, put her little white hand on his wrist, and slowly stepped up to the stage with his strength. Fu Jizhen came on stage twice, the first time with a blank face, the second time was gentle and considerate. This horse riding is definitely not pure friendship. On the stage, etiquette handed the trophy to her. Ron Yu presented awards to the 3 newcomers from left to right according to the plan, and Fujishan from right to left. After the trophy fell to the last newcomer, Fujishan and Ronyu went. I was able to leave, and when I was about to leave, the host smiled and said, "Please stay, everyone on stage will take a photo together." Fujishan was taken aback for a moment, paused when he left the stage to the right, then took 2 steps back and stood beside Ronyu on the far left. Ronyu didn't have time to blame him, so she could only stand and take pictures. In the photo, 6 new actors are standing on the left of Ronyu, and on her right is Fujishan, who should have been standing on the far right. The 2 stared intently at the direction of the camera, with a faint smile on their lips. Ronyu put her hands behind her back, and her bare elbows were pressed against Fujishan's black velvet suit. There was an inexplicable charm and undercurrent in the white and black. This photo quickly spread all over the internet and became a beautiful material for CPS. "It's a good match. I lost the other 6 people. I believe you said this is their engagement banquet." I followed the 500 members and hurriedly organized the engagement banquet for me. That night, topics about the awards ceremony remained high on the hot search list. Ronyu and Fujishan, who had the most discussions, came to the lake where Ronyu wanted to go a few days ago. The lake was sparkling. Ronyu changed into a set of casual clothes, a white sweater and black pants, clean and simple. The evening wind floats, driving the water on the lake to rippling. Ronyu hugged Fujishan, put her chin on his chest, and played with the star pendant in front of her. After a while, she raised her head and said with a serious look, "Congratulations, Mr. Fu, your little idea has succeeded." Fujishan hugged her waist tightly, and chuckled, "I'm just telling some kind of truth in a vague way." Ronyu wanted to laugh, and raised her hand to pinch his tender cheeks. "What's the matter? A big man is so well maintained." "Like pinching, like." Ronyu put both hands together and rubbed his face vigorously like cotton. After rubbing twice, he grabbed him with one hand. "We make a deal." "What deal?" Ronyu tilted her head. Fujishan chuckled. Ronyu's apricot eyes flickered slightly, and when she was seriously thinking about what the cutie in front of her wanted to do, his hand held the back of her head, and a superficial kiss landed on her lips. There was a gust of evening wind, and his curly black hair danced gently in the wind. His voice was sweet and greasy, brushing against her ears together with the evening wind, leaving a little trembling at the tips of her ears. "Kiss a strawberry once, let you pinch your face once." Before Ronyu could refute, the kiss mixed with a smile fell on the corner of her lips like raindrops. She patted his chest lightly, trying to struggle. A cold sharpness brushed her palm. It was the star pendant just now. He put the stars on his chest, showing his heart generously. Ronyu was so dazed by his kiss, the hand that wanted to push away clung to his neck at some point. In the frivolous evening breeze, he tasted the sweet strawberry flavor. He was intoxicated by the taste for a long time. The sweet and sour strawberry fermented on the tip of the tongue and in the mouth, and her breath filled the tip of the nose. He lightly pecked the corners of her lips, and murmured in her ear in the breath rippling like lake water, "Really like you." Ronyu leaned against his chest. The thumping and trembling of my heart did not stop. There are high-rise buildings in the distance. In front of the high-rise buildings and the sparkling lake, the shadows of Ronyu and Fujishan appear very small, but when they are close to each other, they are the most dazzling existence of each other. He couldn't see the tall buildings in the distance, and he didn't care about the little yellow ducks that other people happily took pictures of, but only cared about the figure in his eyes. Ronyu held her head up. The wetness on her lips hadn't faded away. They were as moist as a small peach. "Let's make it public." If he wanted everyone to know that she liked him, she would. "Real? Really?" Ronyu hugged him tightly, and put her ear against his chest, quietly feeling the surprise and powerful jump inside. "But I want to discuss it with my brother. Their love is not just love, but also involves things between the 2 families." "Yeah, Fujishan, I'll go too when the time comes." "What are you going to do?" "When he wants to hit someone, I can pass him a cake and let him vent again." Ronyu smiled lightly. "It must have been moisturized by cream, that's why the face is so good." She rubbed it secretly, turned around and ran away. "There are no strawberries." Fujishan stood where he was, chuckled and said nothing. Sunday, 10 o'clock in the morning. While Ronyu was still washing in the room, Wei Wen knocked on the door and said, "Miss, Mr. Fu is here," and he brought small pastries made by himself, including strawberries, oranges, watermelons, and various flavors. I will put them on for you. On the table, Ronyu was brushing her teeth and almost choked when she heard strawberries. After Wei Wen left, she rushed out after washing up quickly, picked up the strawberry cake and tasted it. It was a bit sweet. Tasty. A familiar voice sounded from behind, so scared that Ronyu subconsciously put the pastry back, and turned to Fujizhan sideways. I didn't eat strawberry flavor, I ate other flavors. The hands hidden behind the back secretly rubbed the fingertips, not wanting to get a little bit of strawberry fragrance. Really, there was a little regret in Fujizhan's voice. He took 2 steps forward, stood still in front of her, lowered his head and said in a deep voice, "Then let me check." Ronyu was so panicked in her heart that she pretended to be calm on the surface. "Check it out." She just took this opportunity to run away. The moment Fujizhan bent over to take the pastry, Ronyu ran out with his legs swishing, but he dragged him back before taking a step, and then, a faint fragrance permeated the tip of his nose. "I tried strawberry flavor, it's delicious, you should try it too." His kisses fell familiarly, lightly touching her hot cheeks, and probing the corners of her strawberry-flavored lips. "Little liar." His voice was extremely low. Ronyu's face was hot. She pushed him away fiercely, kicked him and hurriedly ran into the cloakroom. When he came out half an hour later, Fujizhan had already been called to the 6th floor. "Miss, Mr. Jiyu has something important to call you." Ronyu was taken aback, and looked in the mirror before leaving the room. The blush on her face was still there, but not as deep as before. She took a long breath and swished towards Jiyu Fushin's study. Fujizhan is also there. On the other side, Jiyu Fuchen had an ugly expression. Ronyu swallowed, and asked cautiously, "Brother, what's the matter?" Jiyu Fuchen remained silent, and threw a stack of photos in front of them. After Ronyu saw it clearly, she wished she could run out of the study on the spot. "It's a picture of them hugging and kissing by the lake last night." Fujizhan was protecting the back of her head, holding her waist with one hand, and the two of them were face to face, floating in the breeze, and her ink-like long hair was flying in the air. Behind it is the shimmering lake, and behind it are tall buildings that soar into the sky. They are in the middle of the photo, a small pair of figures, with an inexplicable sense of atmosphere. Jiyu Fuchen took a long breath. "Fujizhan, you'd better prepare 18 layers of cake. I will send you to 18 layers of hell." "Okay, you can say whatever you want." Fujizhan behaved very well behaved. Ronyu glared at him again, hid the photo and asked nervously, "What do they want? Money? This is extortion, no way." Ronyu spoke righteously. "If you have money, don't give it to this kind of person." Jiyu Fushin, listen to him. "Do you have plans to make it public?" Ronyu blushed and nodded slightly. Can you? It's all like this, what else can't be done?" Jiyu Fuchen has nothing to love in his life. At 1:14 p.m. on the second day after the awards ceremony, Fujizhan posted an unprecedented Weibo. At my princess, the whole network. The paparazzi who originally wanted to make a fortune. "Ah, you don't come to have sex." Weibo collapsed. "Ah, so woo. I was not mistaken. What I thought was wrong turned out to be true. It's a princess, Yayo is a princess, that's why Mr. Fu didn't call her little princess Luke Swan. Help, Ron Chen was kidnapped by you, that's why you dare to post this Weibo." 3 minutes later, the case was solved. Together, email protected, Fujizhan, the whole network. Understood. Ron Chen was not kidnapped. It's just that Fujizhan, who was favored by the group favorite Ronyu, also began to be proud of his favor, and boldly showed his affection because of Ronyu's liking. Chapter 103, Yo-Yo Jia-jan, End. The Ligia paparazzi who wanted to make money from this never expected that the Jiyu family and the Fu family didn't take the photos seriously at all. The photos they follow can't be sold for money, and they can't let the photos fall into their hands. After much deliberation, I will send out the photos I took, and take this opportunity to get a wave of attention. The Weibo is still broken, and after the app is repaired, the people who eat melons are jumping back and forth on the Weibo of Dinghao members. First, ask Jiyu Fushin. "Ron Chen, are you okay? Why are you willing to let Fujizhan abduct your sister?" "I went to ask Jian Huai and Lu Jin again. Your Bodai's the sister, The world's money-making idol was abducted by Fujishan. Poison Wei Li Jin, hurry up and fight Fujishan. Finally, under Chi Jian's Weibo, the rhythm went wildly. Your best friend is in a relationship, and she won't have a chance to hang out with you in the future. What should I do? The people who eat melons watch the excitement on Weibo, and it is not a big deal to take the rhythm, and CP fans nestle in Keohua to have a collective carnival. Who is it, whose CP is so romantic in the paparazzi's lens that it seems to be making a movie? I finally got it right. In the excited atmosphere of the audience, how Fujishan solved the group of big bosses behind Ronyu who oppose Ronyu's relationship became a big unsolved mystery of the day. Please, our Emperor Ron is the eldest lady at the top of the pyramid. I'm really curious now. What kind of good thing did Fujishan do to make Ron Chen willing to hand over his sister to him? That sister-in-law Ron Chen, family members, he didn't cry, make trouble and hang himself at home. I think he is very calm. The melon-eating crowd wondered why Ron Chen let go. CP fans celebrated that what they knocked was true. The joys and sorrows of the two sides are not the same. Just like Ron Chen and Fujishan at this moment. At 8 o'clock in the evening, after the CPS finished celebrating, the official blog of the second season of the ES posted a very explosive Weibo. Congratulations to the boss and Mr. Fu for being together. Maybe we can answer the doubts about how Ron Chen compromised Tilda some time ago. Because of the secrecy, the clips were edited and I couldn't post them. Now I'm posting them generously. Then, at the scene of Ron Chen's double label, 1 second he praised the people who were with Fujishan as happy, and the next second, the amazing video of directly covering his face with cake spread all over the world. As expected of us, Ron Chen, the double label belongs to you. Ron Chen, what's wrong with him? He just wants to protect his sister. Dog's head holding flowers. Ha ha ha, Mr. Fu is not at a loss. It's just that the cake is all over his face, but he has reaped your princess. Congratulations to Emperor Ron. Congratulations to the lovers. This year's Chinese Valentine's Day, you can get a limited edition couple snowman doll from Emperor Ron. Anyway, everyone understands that Fujishan's post on Weibo was not easy to come by. First, Jiu Fu Chen was embarrassed on his birthday, and then he had to go through the barriers of Ronyu's parents, which made him feel very sad. But, lovers finally get married, and the sweet future belongs to them. Ronyu glanced at the comments every few seconds, but didn't see any disapproving comments, and happily bounced around the manor. Discussions about this incident on the internet continued for a whole week, and Ron Chen's behavior of double labeling the cake gradually became a meme circulating on the internet. A week later, Ronyu's life was filled with dating, spending money, watching games, planting flowers with her mother, and going out for travel and dinner with her friends. 3 months later, the scene of the spring finals. RG and GT will compete for the championship tonight. Ronyu, Jiu Fusion, Fujishan, Li Jin, Jian Huai, Chi Jian, when Juki and her boyfriend Fang Shu came to watch the final together. The past 2 months have not been smooth for Chi Nuo. He and his teammates have stood at the top, experienced 9 consecutive victories, and also fell to the bottom. Half a month ago, RG successfully entered the semi-finals, but in the crucial battle for the winner to enter the finals, they were zero-blocked by GT. At that time, almost all the commentators and referees were optimistic about RG, who was in full swing, and almost unanimously supported them, but in the praise of the extremely high approval rate, they lost, falling into the loser group, almost losing the chance to enter the final. Chi Jian was worried. Not only Chi Jian, Chi's parents, Chi's mother and Chi Lao, these 3 people who couldn't understand the game, ran to the arena to cheer for Chi Nuo. In the arena where thousands of people shouted, Chi Nuo won. Realizing his little dream, RG's business resources have risen several levels, and Ronyu has become the lying win player that everyone envies. In the blink of an eye, in November, on the first anniversary of Ronyu's return home, she and Fujishan held an engagement banquet on the island. Lu Ming, whom I haven't seen for a long time, also came. During the day, she took Lu Ming to the cruise ship. The two were sitting on a high place. The blue sea in the distance could not be seen at a glance. The sea breeze was gentle, and the waves were blooming. Lu Ming took a sip of red wine and asked her, "Now, do you still yearn for that kind of life?" Ron Yu tilted her head. Lu Ming smiled. "It's what you used to like." Ron Yu turned around, chuckled a few times, and lay on the rocking chair staring blankly at the blue sky and white clouds. One by one clouds curl up like kittens, the blue sky is clear, and the pleasant scenery composed of clear sky and sea intertwined can heal everyone. She used to think that living alone by the sea would be very happy, and the sea could cure her unhappiness, but at this moment, her heart was filled with people around her. No more. Ron Yu rolled her eyes and said in a sweet voice, "I like my current life very much. My parents, my brother, and my good friends are by my side. Fujishan is also by my side." Lu Ming hugged her and said sincerely, Ron, congratulations." Ron Yu was her idol when she was a child. Since she was a child, she has been more serious than everyone else, she is more tolerant than everyone else, and she knows what she wants better than others. "Was I still a bridesmaid when you got married?" Ron Yu nodded repeatedly. "Of course, Yo-Yo." On the beach in the distance, Lu Xuan held her skirt and called her loudly, "Come down quickly, your fiancé is going to be drunk by your brother, my brother and brother Jianguai." Ron Yu raised her eyebrows, hurriedly got off the cruise ship with Lu Ming, and returned to the hall. Fujishan was surrounded by Jiyu Fushin, Jianguai, and Li Jin, and there were many wealthy children who came to watch the theater. "Big brother asked you to drink. You have to drink," Li Jin said with a straight face. "Serious nonsense. Now is the time to establish the majesty of Big Brother. You don't listen to this. As the spokesperson of the Jiyu family, let Ron Yu regret the marriage now." Fujishan had already drank a lot, and his head was dizzy. When he heard the word regret the marriage, he shook slightly, and immediately took the wine glass from Jiyu Fushin with both hands, and took a big gulp. What they drank was pure wine with a high alcohol content. Ron Yu was in a hurry. "Stop drinking, I will take pictures later." Jiyu Fushin actually drank a lot. The culprit is the wealthy children beside him, Jian Huai and Lu Jin. One by one insisted on saying drinking anxiety. Jiyu Fushin was inexplicably fed a lot, and now he couldn't stand still, and he was in a daze, like a big clumsy dog. "Jian Huai, Lu Jin, if you drink again, I'll post a video of you getting drunk a long time ago." Seeing Jiyu Fushin and Fujishan getting drunk, Ron Yu died of anger. Jian Huai and Lu Jin quickly shut up. When it was time to take pictures, Ron Yu supported Jiyu Fushin, Jianguai Lu Jin helped Fujishan, and Ron Yu stood in the middle. On the left is Jiyu Fushin, who is in a daze of drunkenness, and on the right is the well-behaved and quiet Fujishan. Standing in the same row are Lu Ming, Jianguai, Lu Jin, Lu Xuan, Qi Jian, Wen Juqi and Fang Shu. Jiyu Yuchen, Ron Liu and other elders stood behind her. The photographer smiled, "Come and see this way." Jiyu Fushin and Fujishan still had cute faces. Ron Yu had no choice but to emphasize in a low voice, "Smile when you take pictures." Jiyu Fushin and Fujishan nodded obediently, and when the photography teacher called 123, they moved to Ron Yu's side to bide. The two smiled like two sunflowers. Jiyu Yuchen and Ron Liu watched quietly with deep smiles.